If it's first, you ain't afraid, smoke, get you double it up, put on more steam. Protect our kickers, our quarterback, our lead, our ball game. All obstacles, block, cut, sides, 2 games after this win in. First, you again, we're here for the first May. Can't block you never 6 minutes.
Rocky Top, you'll always be.
Just look around. You got the mountains, you got the most beautiful city in the whole entire country. The university is absolutely, looks like it's out of a storybook. It's just beautiful. People are incredibly genuine and extremely nice. It's just a place that obviously I'd want my kids to go to school. And it sells itself. You don't have to sell anything about this place. You just got to get them here. You know, the old field of dreams. Yeah. Build it and they will come. It's already built.
Let me just say one more thing. The standard at Tennessee is to be elite on defense. This is the home of Reggie White, Al Wilson, Eric Berry.
We've got to raise the bar, and we've got to continue to raise the bar. I don't think any of those young men, when they signed to come to Tennessee, they signed to say they wanted to come and be a part of a 7-6 program. All right, they said they wanted to come and compete for championships, SEC championships, national championships. I know that's what I want. I know that's what Tennessee wants. I know that's what the expectation is. So we've got to continue to reassess everything that we're doing and make sure that we're continuing to move the needle in the right direction.
Who got my back? I got your back. Who got my back? I got your back. Who got my back? I got your back. We play for another. We fight for another. Every fight, every play, every round. Hey, Tennessee on 2. 1, 2. Tennessee. Ball that team ready. Ball that team ready. Ball that team ready.
Make the decision. You're either a Vol or you're not, through thick and thin.
Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name's Boogie Bentley. Coach Jay's in the house. Dauber is here. Boys, we are 10-2. We are off to the college football playoff. It ain't got to be perfect. It ain't going to be perfect. Just go out, play your game, win your game, survive, win, advance. We're going to the college football playoff, man. All the whining, all the griping, all the complaining, all the wanting to fire people and bench people and do this and do that. You ever look back at the season and go, man, oh, man, I should have probably enjoyed the ride, because here we sit, Coach Jay, and we got a college football playoff opportunity in front of us.
I'm fired up, man. Look, we didn't put 60 minutes together again. Like this team plays like 21 minutes on Saturday. Like, are we the best team of all time because we can just beat you in 21 minutes? I don't know, maybe, but it'd be really nice to see them put it together for 4 quarters and just shellac somebody one of these days. Maybe we'll get in the playoff. I don't know. I think the chat's right. I think Nico's getting hot at the right time. I think the switch is starting to get turned on to him. I think he's still dealing with some head issues, a couple injuries, but I think he's doing great. I think he's awesome. I'm freaking fired up, man.
You know, like back in school, I was the dumb kid. Like I always had all the, couple of 50s, maybe a 60, maybe a 35 on a test. And the teacher used to go, you know what? Drop your lowest grade. Maybe if we could drop our worst quarter every week, we would be the best team in the country. But Dauber, the bottom line is just go win, baby. Just go win.
Hey, 10 wins. Bottom line, end result. We didn't get there how we thought going into the season, but we're there. Got a couple weeks to heal up. And, should be in the playoffs pretty safely. And the way things are playing out today, still got a lot of football left. You might just be hosting a game in Knoxville. And that is probably best case scenario first round for us. So let's get it.
You guys catch the end of that Ohio State game? Sorry.
I was going to say, be interesting to see what happens after that. What do you think? You guys think I saw them talking about it in the chat. A lot of people saying, no way Ohio State drops below Tennessee.
It's
Never say
raise
never,
Georgia
man.
no matter what, though. Like, you would think it would raise. Will it raise both of us? I guess that's the question, right? We'll see.
It's going to be interesting. But let me tell you something. It feels good to be able to watch college football throughout the course of the weekend and watch some. Let's watch some more chaos next weekend in conference championships because we're in. Bottom line, we are in. 10-2 is getting Tennessee in. Let the chaos ensue, and maybe, just maybe, we'll be hosting a college football playoff first-round game inside of Neyland Stadium. Stevie J is a man of his word. He said, Boogie, at the beginning of the year, I'm going to drop a hundo every time Tennessee wins. Here's the hundo for this stream.
Money isn't everything. It's the only thing. And everyone has a price for the $1 Million Man.
Stevie J, that is a very generous super chat. He says, been a great year. Let's go get a championship. Go Vols. Look, all you got to do is win. Win, survive, advance. The playoffs started today. We won week 1. Let's go into the college football playoff with some momentum. Say what you will about Nico. Somebody laughing and mocking Coach J for saying Nico is him, or other people in the chat saying Nico is him. Played pretty dang good football game today. Maybe Nico is peaking at the right time. This defense handled their business today. Backflip spaghetti drops a hundo. Y'all crazy today.
Money isn't everything. It's the only thing. And everyone has a price for the $1 Million Man.
Backflip spaghetti for a hundo says, I think my VBS, you going to vacation Bible school? I think he means battered Vols syndrome is cured. I kept it together for the first half. GBO and happy Thanksgiving, y'all. I don't know. What do you, Dauber, what do you think about that? Because we talked in the tailgate show. We talked about how important it would be for Tennessee to start fast. And we say that every week, but it felt like if Tennessee started fast, and we saw this in the second half, Vanderbilt's offense is not made to come from behind. And we talked about starting fast. You couldn't ask for a worse start for Tennessee. House call on the very first play of the game. 2 plays later, Dylan Sampson fumbles. Short field for Vanderbilt. They go in capitalized, and it's 14-0 before you can even blink. Was your battered Vols syndrome flaring up at all?
It didn't look good at that point. Sleepwalking, I don't know what the deal was, but poor coverage on that opening kick. You had guys way out of lanes, and I could see that. And it was bad. And then DeSamp, that's the 4th one he's dropped in pretty big crucial points. And Vandy capitalized. Listen, I told you Wednesday night, regardless of how the season's shaped out, Vandy always plays Tennessee tough. They always do. Look across college football the last couple of weeks at rivalry games. Look today at Michigan, Ohio State. Nobody gave Michigan a chance in hell. And rivalry games are tough. That kid for Vandy, Pavia, man, he plays with some grit and a chip on his shoulder. And, early in the game, he was, putting that team on his back and grinding it out. So hats off to him for how they started. Tennessee got in a hole early, and I think they were a little shell-shocked. Glad they reset, and the way they responded, it shows that they can play with their backs against the wall, which is a good thing. But, and we'll get into it a little bit more, there's some things you've got to clean up if you want to have success against upper level teams.
Yeah. Real quick before I get into what I was about to say, David Sanders, you go to a team who could beat their rival. That's all I'm saying, young man, young buck. Go to
I
a
think
team
David
that can
Sanders
beat their
made
rival.
his. I think he made his decision.
He
before
did, but I'm just
snap was ever played today.
I'm just spiking the football, Boogie. I'm
I
just
appreciate
spiking
that. Do more than
that's all
spike.
that is.
I need a John
Yeah.
Campbell type effort here. Clean the pile
Okay,
up.
yeah.
Clean the pile up.
Yeah. Good gosh. Yeah, but no. Hey, Dauber's right. Us, and we've been a good special teams team. It was atrocious today, except for Max. Max was awesome. He got it done. Nice punt late in the game too that set up a safety, but early we were not staying in our lanes. Except like every bounce was going their way. It was shaky from a special teams perspective. I think I still think this was a super sloppy game, right? We had way too many stupid penalties in those big games. Those are going to cost you. I agree with you, Dauber. We got a lot to keep cleaning up. But guess what? We got a couple weeks now. We got a couple weeks now. We can go in, put in good practice, focus practice towards what we need to work on. Go out there, clean some stuff up. Nico's growing up before our eyes. I think it's important to give this defense a chance to catch their breath as well. I think they're spent after a long season, little bit of get right time for this defensive line. And I think you saw that early in this game, right? It's almost like, a pitcher that's thrown a lot of innings over a year. When he first gets out there, the arm's a little sore, arm's a little tight, takes a little while to work himself into the later innings. I think that's true of this defense right now. I think a nice deep breath will really help them. Can Nico continue to grow? Can this defense come in rested? How much noise can the Tennessee Volunteers make?
We've said all year long, we keep going back and back. Every single week, it's like wash, rinse, repeat. Let's just put the post-game show on repeat and let y'all watch the same post-game show. Because every week we come in here and say, we didn't play clean. We found a way to win. We can't do this against team X, Y, and Z. But guess what? We keep doing it against X, Y, and Z. And we keep coming on here and say, what if we put it together for 60 minutes? We can beat anybody in the country. Bottom line is, here we sit 10-2 with a shot heading into the college football playoff. Like you said, you got a couple of weeks to prepare for this, but not only that, you got a couple of weeks to get healthy. Brew McCoy, I have no idea what happened there. Said he got an injury flared up during warmups. Dante Thornton, who was having his coming out party, absolutely out. He's out for the second half. Peyton Lewis gets banged up. Squirrel gets taken out by a cheap shot. I'm glad the commentary team pointed that out. I mean, what an absolute cheap shot. Dylan Sampson looked like he was
look at the last
hamstring. Was that his hamstring?
Minutes, yeah.
So we got to get healthy. We need Dylan Sampson to be healthy. We need our wide receivers to be healthy. Everybody's talking about the slow start, and I get it. And my battered ball syndrome was 100% creeping in behind me. And I'm looking at it. I'm going, all right, let's not freaking panic. It's not like, look, it was a kickoff return. Yes, was it bad? Yes, it was bad, but it was one play and it was one group. It's not like it was across the board. 2 plays later, the guy that you've leaned on all year puts the football on the ground. Now your defense, their back is against the wall. And yeah, you could have dug in and got a stop there, but you didn't. But it's like, I wasn't ready to hit the panic button because of basically 5 minutes of football. So it's 60-minute game. Tennessee fought back, bounced back. Let me catch up with you guys with your super chats. Cletus, the Barber Beefcake for 2, playoff bound, baby. Negavols, piss off. Nicholas, been a member for 25 months. I'm not going to lie, Boogie. I was an emotional wreck at the start of the game. Sorry from the bottom of my heart. How many times do we hear this, guys? How many times every post-game show do people apologize to us for their actions during the game? Maybe take a social media timeout. Maybe take a deep breath. Maybe pump the brakes a little bit. Will Dyer for 5 says, Dorfy, glad I got a place to vent when it's garbage. Now let's go Trojans. Will doesn't use good social media discipline. He just lets it fly in the chat. VFL 2002 for 2, cannot wait for John Campbell to graduate. I get it. There's mixed feelings there. You can't do that. Luckily, you picked up the yardage for the first down and you weren't looking at a 1st and 25. You got the 1st and 10 after the 15 yards. But, man, stuff like that can cost you a game. Big trade for 5 ain't perfect. Ain't going to be perfect. Time to go compete in the playoffs. I said it's great to be a Tennessee Vol. Negavols, keep your – oh, come on, Trey. Let's see. Mark Wilson's a member of the channel. Thank you, Mark, for the support. Louisiana Ball for 5 in the conversation to host now 100%, or am I wrong GBO, you're either of all, you're not through thick and thin. Honestly, had me in the first half, not going to lie. I think you're in the conversation. It'll be interesting to see what they do with Ohio State. We'll have to wait and see what happens in the conference championships. Does Notre Dame slip up to USC? It's very possible we could be hosting a playoff game, but I think Coach Rice hit it a little bit early. You need to have some stuff. You need some chaos. You need some things to go your way. Randall Perry for 20 will play the clip.
Rocky Top!
So thankful. Almost lost my son last week. This week, he no longer in critical condition. Walked 6 steps. Now we're going to the playoffs. Happy Thanksgiving, Boogie. Happy Thanksgiving to you. And glad you've been sending some stuff on Facebook. Glad to see you guys getting some good reports there. So we'll keep you in our prayers. Randall, appreciate the support, brother. Foul Ming for 5. Go MF and balls. That's all I know. Oh, and Big Ten who? Sword the Demon for 10. Said it at the start. 2 plays don't make a game. Stuck it out and got the win. We're in the playoffs. Rest in peace, Ryan Day. Adrian Wells been a member for 20 months. Carl for 2. I want that Campbell 10 out of 10 times. Take the trash out. Fido for 5. I figured it out. We just suck at night. Go Vols. Give us noon games the rest of the postseason. We're
on the road, maybe.
This is a morning practice team. They practice in the morning. So a lot of people worried about it being an early kick. That was probably good for this team. Coach Rice for 5. Oregon, Texas, Miami, SMU, Boise State, Penn State, Notre Dame, Georgia, Ohio State, Tennessee, Indiana, Clemson, SMU, Miami, Alabama. That's the only – the scary part about pulling for chaos is if Alabama sneaks in. I do not want Alabama getting into the postseason. Louisiana ball for 2 for BVD, man. He's screaming, go Vols. Let's go win it for the BVD. I like Fortnite.
Wait, I want Bama again. I want Bama again. I want that smoke. I want to kick the crap out of them, man. We've been losing to Alabama. Heck yeah, I do. We've been losing to Alabama for years, man. They've been on top for years. I want to knock their crap in the dirt and end their bull crap once and for all. I want to be the one who gets them. I want to be the one who gets them.
I just want to end seasons.
There you go. Yeah, either way. I'm with you, Dauber. We need to get a little breath.
We need to worry about ourselves. We are our own.
Yeah, I'm in the playoffs. I want to fight, Dauber.
We're our own biggest opponent. Man, we got to clean up our own. Shooting ourselves in the foot.
Yeah,
that's the biggest thing. And then we'll lay it to them.
Fired up.
All right, let me get back to the super chats real quick. Let's see, where did we go? I like Fortnite for 5. Let's freaking go. Sucks so many people got hurt, but we got 3 weeks to heal up. Screw NCAA for not having Dylan as a finalist. GBO, Landon for 5, says it was extremely stressful at times, but I can't complain about 10-2. I'm extremely proud of this team. It's never easy for Tennessee. I'm telling you, they're putting us in the grave, boys. Johnny Freeze for 10. GBO, playoff game in Neyland. I'm there. Levi for 5. Nico played his best game as of all. Hope Sampson is okay. What are the chances we get a home game now? Go Vols. Will for 2. Great last 3, but we have to play 4 quarters now. Tyler Maxwell for 2. Pavia is not greater than Nico. Playoff bound Go Vols. Let's see. Birdie Bailey for 5. Bad day for the Nico isn't the guy crowd. Now, Nicholas for 5. You know how ridiculous it is that Sampson isn't in the conversation for anything. Scott Bennett for 5. Barring the hate from the committee, we in, baby. How do we feel about home life's first round? How much you been drinking, Scott? Now, y'all make me look like I can't read. We're in, man. We're in. I don't care. No ifs, ands, or buts. That 97% is garbage. We're in 100%. Casey Edwards for 5. Someone made a good point. Ohio State is going to have to deal with suspensions after today. That could cost them big this late in the season. Yeah, craziness at the end of that game. Yeah. Randall Perry for another 20. We appreciate you, Randall.
Rocky Top!
If losing on the road to Arkansas at night is bad, then losing at home to Bob's College of the Blind, Michigan, got to be worse. I think you look at their wins, though, statistically, over a top 5 Indiana. Their other loss was to who? Number 1 Oregon, I think. They've got a couple of ranked wins. I don't know.
They beat Penn State.
I don't know what the playoff committee will do there. I mean, maybe. We'll see. I would love to jump Ohio State. I'll have to see it to believe it because they were so high. What were they ranked? 2nd? Going into it, so we'll see what the committee does. Chris Vanoy for 5. Punches and pepper spray. Flying post game. Michigan, Ohio State. Go Vols. Trenton Lund drops 2. Nothing to say, just a tip. John Mills and Matthew May are members of the channel. We appreciate you guys for your support. All right, let's circle the wagons. Let's get back to it. We didn't really do opening comments. We kind of did. Let's just kind of rewind and go through some opening comments. First, we didn't even mention How about Dylan Sampson breaking the single season rushing record at Tennessee, breaking Travis Stevens' record set in 2001? You love to see it. They may not recognize him. The Heisman Trophy may not recognize him. The Doak Walker Award may not recognize him, but we are going to recognize him. He's a dude. He's a guy we've leaned on all year. Defense and D-Samp, that's all I know. But let's cycle this thing back around, Coach Jay. Opening thoughts, even though we've already kind of done
that. Opening thoughts. Like I was kind of saying, I mean, obviously all the special teams early and digging yourself into a hole. But I felt like we were getting beat up front early. I thought our linebackers were a little bit lost also in the early pass game, but I thought they recovered really well from it, which was nice to see. You know, it was almost like, we're a little lost. We're out of position. It took a kind of slow drip to kind of get that fixed, but they did get it addressed. You know, I didn't like going for it on fourth early. I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't like it. I didn't like where it was, the way we were getting beat up front at the time. I thought we needed to get them into a little deeper water before we ran that kind of play personally. Obviously, Nico kind of came out hot. He was cooking early and then made a mistake. And at that moment, that he made that bad throw, right? Let's just call it what it was. It was a terrible throw. That moment in a quarterback, everything on the line, your playoff hopes, you want someone who can settle down, refocus, get back on the horse, and ride it through to the finish line. When he came back and initially answered to score another touchdown, and then I think he completed like one ball after on the way to the third touchdown. I felt really good in that moment because I was like, all right, he bit down. He fought through the adversity. That's what you want to see. And I thought he was really special inside the pocket, slipping out of it today, picking up yards where he should have, escaping. He might have held the ball one too many times. The play Coach Rice brought up with me on Twitter where Ethan Davis dropped a ball he should have caught. In fairness, Nico should have thrown it a little earlier, but still a good job elongating the play. Made it a little more difficult than it needed to be with the sidearm chuck, which probably would cause the throw behind him, which in turn caused the drop, even though it hit him in the hands. But, I mean, for the most part, 4 touchdowns. Nico doesn't play this game. We don't win this game. He bit down when it was 17-0 and got us back in the game and was the catalyst for the game. Once they loosened up, the running game got going a little, and then it was sayonara. Big play also by West for the safety. Big play to set that up. I thought the secondary was special all day long from the McCoy pick.
What a play. What a play. Just unbelievable, man. The way he just come on. That's Sports Center. That's Sports Center type stuff. I thought a big moment for Nico was the like I felt like just the way the game was set up, I felt like if you could win the middle eight, and I know we talk about that a lot, but I think because of the way the game started with Vanderbilt jumping on you quick, and then you're kind of fighting back and you're fighting through momentum, and it feels like maybe a little light, little spark, and then Nico throws the pick, and you're still in this fight, and you're tied at 17 with 2.5 minutes to play, and you're backed up on your own 4. And if you don't have confidence in your redshirt freshman quarterback to go out there and let him make throws, let him make plays, that's a problem. But Josh Heupel had confidence in Nico in that moment. And you go down the field, 10 plays, 96 yards. I think I tweeted out, that's a big boy drive there. That is a season-defining drive, which is crazy to say because it's Vanderbilt, but it ain't your mom and daddy's Vanderbilt. I know I talked some trash this week. I was concerned about this game all week long. That's why I kept pointing to all the other games around the country. I kept pointing to the games that Vanderbilt had lost because they are a scrappy bunch, and they feed off of Diego Pavia. Talked a lot of trash about him. I'll talk some more. Guess what? Nico owns you today, son. You can talk about Diego Pavia and how special he is. Just go look at the numbers. Nico's the better quarterback. He was always the better quarterback, and he was always going to be the better quarterback. But I felt like that drive right before the half, Nico's touchdown throw to Miles Kitselman, what an absolute dime. Great play call. He sold, like I almost tweeted this out, and I was like, nah, I'm not going to tweet it out. Maybe I overreacted in the moment. He sold the play action so well. I got mad at Heupel for running the football. I said, why are we running here? Oh, Miles Kinselman's wide open. And somebody else commented on my tweet and said, what a sell by Nico on the play action. But again, that's just when this offense is clicking, man, it is freaking hard to beat. When you're able to sell the play action versus, well, here's a play action for no reason. But again, going out there, winning the middle eight, going on that long drive in a short amount of time, taking the lead, and then how do you start the second half? By going 13 plays, 75 yards, adding another touchdown. Now it's a 2-score game. And Vanderbilt never had a shot after that, Dauber. It was over. Just huge to win that middle eight for me.
It was nice. And I really liked how they kind of flipped the script in the second half. And offensively, they weren't running super tempo. They were eating clock and chewing up the game. And
beat Vanderbilt with their own game, really.
Beat them, gave them their own medicine. Yeah. I'll be honest. Opening thoughts, though. Sitting down watching this, I stopped taking notes after I got a page of notes, and they were all mistakes and miscues. And I was like, God. And then I started watching the game and not taking notes, and we kind of started clicking a little bit. And like Coach Jay said, I think Nico, I think he really he had it kind of going from the beginning. It was just we got in that hole so quick, and we're shell-shocked. But had he not dug in and provided that spark to answer and respond, it could have gotten real ugly because Vandy had a lot of momentum and a lot going, but it was so early in the game. And that's the thing I've talked about multiple times this season. This team has found different ways to win, and this right here is a good example of, when the playoffs come, when it's big time football, you get your back against the wall. How are you going to respond? If you've not been in that position, it's hard to know what you'll do. You can look at this game and look, being down multiple scores and being able to know, hey, I can battle back. I can respond. They didn't give up. They didn't roll over. That would have been easy to do. Tennessee teams in the past, that's what they've done. They make mistakes. They have miscues, and it takes them completely out of the game, and then they can't respond. I'm proud that this team battled back and that they, beat a team that they should. Because face it, you look at statistics, you look at on paper, this team should beat Vanderbilt. But like I've talked about, it's a rivalry game. It's tough to go on the road in the SEC. And that's been a question mark for Coach Josh Heupel for this team. Can they go on the road and win a game? And then you get down so big, so quick, and you're like, here we go again. Road woes, but they answered. So, opening thoughts. I'll sum it up with 10 wins. They found the way to get it done, and we're doing something that, there's only going to be 12 other teams doing, getting in that first 12-team playoffs. So hats off to this team and the way they battled all season.
I thought momentum was a big part of this game. Of course, when you start the way that Vanderbilt started, obviously momentum's through the roof. And I know that stadium was filled with orange and white. Like you could just see on the broadcast how full it was. And then again, the McCoy pick, it's like, all right, is this a spark? Is this a way that we can climb back in this thing and shift some momentum? And then you just basically traded in interceptions. Like Coach Jay said, the throw from Nico was a horrible throw, is what it is. You keep on fighting, you keep on pressing. But I feel like there was a lot of time really left in the half. Fourth down stop. We talked about Heupel going for it on fourth down. I'm with you guys. I didn't really agree with it, but I also felt like, all right, he feels like his back's against the wall. He feels like he's got to do something to kind of light a fire under his team. And we asked for this. We asked for that aggressive Coach Heupel early in the year. Now he gives it to us, and it's easy. Hindsight's 20/20 when you don't make it to go, well, shouldn't have gone for it there. But on the flip side of that, Vanderbilt does the same thing. You get a fourth down stop with 11:32 in the half. Will Brooks, Bryson Eason get to Pavia. You get that turnover on downs. You got a short field. And then, man, the football gods were looking down on us for this one. Like Max Gilbert from 50 yards, it doinks off the crossbar and rolls through. And then the defense goes out and they get a 3-and-out. And you get a punt down inside the 10, and then, 2 plays later, Nico to Dante Thornton for 86 yards. Now we're tied. Then we go into the middle 8. I just feel like that 4th down stop, right? Just a little something to get you fired up and kind of flip that momentum a little bit.
Yeah, momentum was kind of the name of the game all day. So, yeah, when the momentum finally did flip, I thought Tennessee did a really good job of not letting it go. I mean, I got a little upset late in the game when Vanderbilt scored their last touchdown, and I get it, but I just didn't like how conservative we got. Like, we were getting such good pressure on Pavia. All of a sudden, we started sitting back, and they had success. Boo Carter gets burnt for a touchdown, but then immediately comes back, snaps and clears, resets, comes up with a huge stop on the 2-point conversion. It doesn't get any better than that, guys. Coaching a freshman, coaching a young kid in his first season, and it kind of like Nico with the pick, right? The same kind of thing. Young guy makes a mistake, young guy comes back and immediately erases it. That's what you want to see as a coach, the ability to let the bad stuff go and continue fighting, continuing giving your team a chance is what matters at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's about how you respond. And
right.
He let that go and made the play on the next play. So,
and that's hard to do, man. That is hard to do, to not let that play beat you on the next play, the next drive, the rest of the game. So yeah. Let me catch up with you guys dropping super chats. We got almost 800 people watching live. Man, who thought 800 people watching live for a win over Vanderbilt? But man, this win, meant
huge win,
everything. Meant everything to this program. We are heading to the college football playoff. But we got almost 800 people. Do me a favor and smash the thumbs up first of all. That's easy and it helps the channel. Let me lay down the gauntlet. Let me lay down the challenge. Y'all share the link. You get 1,000 people watching live. Get 1,000 people watching live. We'll give away 2 free T-shirts. Why not? Why not give away 2 free T-shirts? That encourages you guys to share the link. Blast it on Twitter, blast it on Facebook. Let somebody know that we're live and to come hang out with the Talkin VAWLS network. If you want to go buy a shirt, you can go to bonfire.com/store/Talkin VAWLS. Got these brand new. You're muted, Coach Jay, because he sometimes forgets that he is on mute. Unless, man, he talks bad about Bob's high school football coach. Then he's not muted. How does that happen? But go check it out. Bonfire.com/store/Talkin VAWLS. State Pride 2.0 shirts. You guys demanded a camo shirt right as Bonfire dropped a camo shirt. You can go get that, as well as all the rivalry shirts, all the old favorites. We appreciate that support. If you don't want to spend the money, then just hit the thumbs up because that's quick, free, and easy. Or you can support us by joining the channel. Hit that join button down below. We would appreciate it. Let me get your thoughts. Coach Rice with another 10. Texas beat Georgia. Oregon beat Ohio State. And USC beat Notre Dame, and we will be a 6 seed. Vols fan for 2. Dorothy, love what you guys have built here. GBO, we appreciate that. This was built for the fans, by the fans. You guys make this show what it is, and we are grateful for you guys. SP Weasel for 10. Just pay heed to our own business. Discipline. RJ Cena, been a member for 25 months. We appreciate you. Dave Morrison for 2. My B-Day present be looking good as shit. GBO, don't be a Gerald, and happy birthday, Dave. Orange Sea Line for 5. Vandy came out and threw their best haymakers early, but couldn't hang with Tennessee for 12 rounds. Evan Counts for 5. Alex Golish getting worked by the College of Ross. By College of Ross.
Do you want to take shots at Rice?
Do you want to take shots at Alex Golish and defend?
Not really, because I do want to defend Halsey to a degree. And look, it doesn't mean I think Halsey's perfect. I think Coach Rice is right. I think we can be more creative with certain things. I think we can have better eyes up in the press box. And when Coach Rice, when I kind of go back and forth on scheme, Coach Rice, I think, very aptly points out that it's not so much about Halsey's scheme, Heupel's scheme compared to Golish's scheme. It's his eyes up in the press box. It's what he's seeing. It's what he's moving on the fly that I think makes a difference, and what kind of makes Alex Golish the nutmeg in the cake. You know what I mean? That secret ingredient that kind of just brings it all together, and you don't know quite what it is or why.
But it's the chess part of it.
Yeah. So it's like, yeah, there is something there. I do kind of agree with people, but to put it all on them and be like, this is the whole reason the offense isn't functioning. like 22, that it pumped the brakes a little bit.
No,
it's a bridge too far.
The reason for that is execution, be it
Yes.
quarterback play, the offensive line, wide receivers. We've talked about it over and over and over, week in and week out. It's playing 60 minutes of elite level football, and we've not been doing that. We've been making mistakes and miscues.
Forgot what I was going to say. Oh, you talking about like Halsley and the play calling. I agree with that too. We talked about that a lot. Creativity, finding different ways to get different guys the ball, utilize the middle of the field, utilize the halfbacks in the passing game, get your tight ends involved. I'm just going to this is way easier. I'm just going to ban this idiot. Like if you got nothing better to do than put stupidity in the chat, then I'll just get rid of you for being an idiot. How about that? Enjoy the rest of the show from the banned world out in the nether. But look, the bottom line is look at the touchdown to Dante Thornton. What happens if he drops that? What happens if Nico overthrows it? Then all of a sudden the numbers look a little bit differently, right? If it comes down to execution, man. It comes down to execution. And again, I agree. They do need to be more creative. Let's see. Foul Mean gifted a Talkin VAWLS membership. Thank you, Foul Mean. Appreciate you, brother. Brandon Burkett for $5. We're in, baby. That's right. We are in the college football playoff. Peyton K for $5. Dorothy, and reminder for everyone to hit the thumbs up now. I appreciate you, Peyton. Thank you for doing my plugs for me. Dan Yoder for $5. We are a playoff team. Now we just got to go to the next level, man. Continue to win. Tyler Maxwell for $2. GoFundMe for Coach J. Boogie for a home playoff game. Dude, it's almost like if they're playing in Neyland Stadium, I almost feel like we have to send Coach J there somehow, some way. Dude, we started GoFundMe. We got to get the man in Neyland. Sean Cross for $50. I like those $50 super chats. Now I lost a clip. I'm all flustered. I had to yell at an idiot in the chat. I had to ban somebody who will now float around the internet talking about what a jerk I am. Look, I do this all the time. I like to adjust the mic. I like to get it where I want it. If that bothers you, if you want to sit in the chat for 35 minutes and tell somebody every time I touch a microphone, you could just go tell it to your mom that you're sleeping in her basement eating her Cheetos.
Money isn't everything. It's the only thing. And everyone has a price for the $1 million man.
Sean Cross for $50. Biggest win since Florida 01. Now let's finish the job this time. Shout out, Sean. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate the super chat. Coach Rice for $2. Arizona State jumps to 4 seed over Boise State. You're going to have to see how all these conference championships play out. Go ahead, Coach.
I was just going to say, I feel like Coach Rice is the scene from The Hangover with all the math going behind him, like trying to figure out the playoff picture right now.
And he's driving himself mad. He's driving himself mad because it's all for naught. It's kind of like, I get it. I enjoy the rankings coming out too. And it's like, man, we can try. You can drive yourself mad because there's too many things. Yeah. All that matters is winning today, right? Now let's just let the chips fall where they may. We know that we're in. So let's just wait and see what happens. And it's almost like even Tuesday when the rankings come out, it almost doesn't matter, right? It's like you still got to wait till the conference championships play out. Then we'll kind of get a gauge for where we're going to be in this thing going into the college football playoff.
I've got a question for both of you. I want both your answers. If you guys want, feel free to answer in the chat. Is this season now a success, or do you need a playoff win? Do you need two? Where has the line gone to? Have we crossed the line and it's all icing for you, or what needs to happen for Dauber, for Boogie, for the chat to call this season a success?
Now we're moving the goalpost on ourselves.
Go ahead, Dauber. Go ahead. Go answer, and then I'll get Boogie's answer.
Everybody was saying, 10 wins, playoff or bust. And I think the way this season played out, I think getting to today was a must-win game. And I think because it made it a playoff or bust because we had that on the line. I think getting to the playoffs with a redshirt freshman at quarterback, the way that this team has played throughout this season, I think it's every bit of a success. And everything else is icing on the cake and to build on. But that doesn't mean you go out and want to play poor football. You want to come out and execute and, getting in the playoffs. You look at baseball, a wild card team. If they peak at the right time, the rest of the season doesn't matter. You get in the playoffs and then you start winning. What we've talked about today and the last couple of weeks, Nico seems to be clicking. Things seem to be slowing down for him. He's making better reads. If he can get, everybody else to kind of clean up some stuff, defensively, Boogie has talked about D-Samp and the defense. The defense has to clean up some of these penalties, though. Early in the game, they couldn't get off the field on third down, and they extended multiple drives by penalties when they should have been off the field. So I think you kind of put all that together. That makes this season's a success. You got the 10 wins. Double-digit wins in this conference is a great success. Getting to the playoffs, I think that was the goal. So anything beyond in the playoffs, it's icing on the cake.
That's where that was the goal going into it, man. College football playoff or bust, 10 wins. And I know when we did our predictions, I had them at 11 because of the way it played out. Like I was all in on 10-2.
Should have been
like,
11.
man, if you beat Oklahoma, there's no way you're going to lose the game until Georgia. Obviously, you got to go play the games. That's why we line up and we play on Saturdays. And I saw somebody in the chat say the Arkansas game really sucks right now. But at the end of the day, 10-2 college football playoff, that was the goal. Man, I was already thinking we're down 14-0 in the first quarter. I'm like, all right, it's time for a come to Jesus meeting because I'm not going to sit here and pretend that this is okay because it's not. It was if they had lost to Vanderbilt, I wasn't coming on here going full scorched earth, ready to fire Coach Heupel like some of the people were in the chat or while the game was going on. Like I wasn't there, but it's you would have had to have questioned Josh Heupel, right, for the South Carolina game in 2022, for the Missouri game, for the Arkansas game. You have two of them in 1 year. You got an Arkansas loss and a loss to Vanderbilt. I think it's fair to ask questions, but guess what? They went in, they took care of business. Now I'm like Dauber. I'm not going to sit here and go, I don't want to win a playoff game. I'm good. Let's call it a season. Great job, guys. Depending on the matchup, if I think it's a favorable matchup for Tennessee, if it's a home game, look, I'm going in expecting to win the whole dang thing. Period. Point blank. But if they don't, I'm happy with 10 wins in a college football playoff appearance. Let's go spend that money in the portal that the On3 article was talking about. Let's finish off this class of 25. Me and Coach Rice will be live right here next Wednesday at 7 o'clock, breaking down early signing day. Let's go finish off that class, continue to recruit at an elite level, and continue to use the portal to fill holes. Let's spend that money and let's go win it all in 2025. Why not? But we still got a shot this year. But answer your own question, Coach Jay. Are you satisfied with 10-2 college football playoff and getting bounced in the first round? If y'all want to know, you can go buy a T-shirt that says Coach Jay is muted. You can go to bonfire.
I feel like I was set up. I was answering text
/ Talkin
VAWLS.
Yeah.
All right. Excuses, Coach Jay. Excuses, right? No, listen. For me, it's a success right now, and it's icing. It's that simple. I think we got to our goal. But listen, the goal is always the championship, right? Let me start there. Let me back up. The goal is always the championship, but you have to know how to get somewhere, right? Like you have to know the path moving forward, and it's been hard for Tennessee over the past umpteenth years to make it into a situation where they could even win it, right? We found a way to get there now. It's easier to replicate things like that. That's when teams start to poke through something like that. I truly do believe that. I've been on a couple teams where it's been like playoff, then next year the championship comes or the year after. Like you have to have a little bit of that experience. I'm not saying that the cards couldn't fall right and we win it this year. I think the odds are stacked against us a little bit for certain reasons this season, but it could happen. But I also think we're mapping that out now. We got a young quarterback. We got a young defensive backfield. They're kind of mapping out what this is going to look like. They can continue to learn. They can continue to get better. And right now, guess what? We're in a couple fights that if we can find a way to win, we can make some big noise.
It's kind of like, man, you're talking about the young secondary. It's kind of like what the conversation we were having in the tailgate show about the offensive line. You get David Sanders across the finish line. You got Lance Hurd, who's young. if William Satterwhite and Gage Ginther and Jesse Perry, some of these young guys are developed and grow into special players, and then you continue to recruit, that's where we've not been, man. We've not had that. All right, you lose a guy like Cooper Mace. All right, well, let's just plug the next guy in the next year, right? And you're playing seniors and juniors every year. We've not had that. And I know that's hard. That's a hard thing to do in 2024 with the transfer portal and NIL and the way that college football is. But Josh Heupel in just 4 years, man, has flipped this freaking roster. And now we're talking about a young, talented secondary coming back in 2025. We're talking about some a redshirt freshman quarterback. You talk about having to be there and getting that experience. You don't think this season has been huge for Nico? Oh, do you remember last year when you went on the road to Arkansas and you laid an egg? Let's learn how to go about things the right way. And even, Dauber, what you were talking about earlier, and like adversity and responding to adversity. We talked a lot on this channel about learning to win. This team has been through it. They've seen it all under Josh Heupel. The culture, we talk it, we build culture up, but then you see that play out through the course of the season. Look, this team could go win it all this year, but definitely are going to be in the mix again in 2025.
Oh yeah, for sure. And that's why I think, bottom line, this is a success. I don't want to look too far back in the past, but if you look where Josh Heupel, what he came into, the situation he came into, and what he's built, and how this team has progressed year to year to year, I think that's the growth you want to see. You talk the turnaround in culture. We've talked about recruiting, both guys you're signing and guys you're bringing in the transfer portal. I think that culture and I think this team has an identity that is positive and successful now, and that's something you can build on. And I think you hear guys that come in on visits and stuff, and they talk about the brotherhood, how it is a family. And I mean, you look at Danny White and athletics across the board, all the positivity in Knoxville right now. Mm-hmm. And I think that helps. And it's one of those things, success breeds success. So you do stack these, it's a small victory to go on the road and win at Vanderbilt. But in the big picture, today was a huge win for this program to put us where we are, and to rebuild this program from the series we did, the Follow the Balls. You look at those dark times and when things just would not go right, and that's where all this battered ball syndrome started. And we're still dealing with that today. Still dealing with that, in the fourth quarter when Nico drops the ball with him and DeSamp, and the ball's on the turf. You're like, oh gosh, here we go again. And it's one of those things. We have to realize where this program is and celebrate the success.
Yeah. Go ahead, Coach Jay, and then when you finish your thought, I'll catch up.
I was just going to say, secretly, my favorite play Nico made all day, though, there was a ball that he threw, and it was tipped, and it went back to him, and he was going to catch it, and then you could see that he was going to get drilled in the backfield, and he just pulled his hands back. It's like those are those moments, like you said, Dauber, where you can see a game starting to slow down for a quarterback and start to think, okay, if I do this, what's going to happen? Like, you know what I mean? It's not just ball, oh, catch, react. It's, it's slow enough that I can think this through, think of what kind of value or negative value this has for my team in this situation. Go ahead, Boogie.
Evan Counts for 10 says, what a win for my son's first birthday. I was cussing Josh Heupel in Tennessee football early. Allow me to take back everything I said. Love you, Josh Heupel. And number 8, I was a terrible fan today, GBO. I feel like if I come in here and lecture you guys enough, every Saturday afternoon, evening, I feel like if I lecture you enough, I've been there. I've done that. I don't do it on social media. I yell at my TV. I yell at everything around me. That's why I'm down in this cave where nobody can hear me. So they don't hear me yelling at the TV. We got to use better social media discipline. Noah James for 5, just love this football team. What can I say? Thank you, Noah. Knoxville Buckeye for 2. Well, at least I can be happy the Vols won. Oh, poor Buckeyes. How can you like Ohio State and Tennessee? Eric Gibson for 5. Let's be honest, the crowd was 80-20 orange. This wasn't a road game. Best Nico in-conference game at the right time. Mike Matthews on the field. Touchdown. Yeah, I agree. This wasn't a true road game, and that would have made it even worse to drop this one. UT Punk had been a member for 38 months. It is time to move the goalpost again. If we don't win a natty, the season is a bust. I'll wait for that comment. I'm sure I will see it. MG Way for 2. Glad to be finishing the regular season 10-2. GBO. Dylan's been a member for 29 months. Playoff bound. Now let's hope for a few more upsets and get the best seeding we can. Coach Jay, go Trojans. Just for tonight. Yeah, Coach Jay, you'll be able to jump on.
Maybe I should go catch that game. I should go see if there's tickets.
Go scout.
7-7 right now.
Me too. I need to. Maybe it's like high school. Maybe they'll let you in for free after halftime.
Maybe.
Think so?
Maybe.
Paul Lindsay for 50.
Money isn't everything. It's the only thing. And everyone has a price for the $1 Million Man.
Appreciate you, Paul. Thank you for the very generous super chat. Says just win and get out of the SEC. GBO. No way, man. I don't want out of the SEC. I love SEC football. We ain't going nowhere. We've closed the talent gap. It's time to win the SEC, Paul. Win the SEC. That's what he says. He says just win and win the SEC. GBO. I corrected that for you. Thank you, Paul. That is a very generous super chat. We appreciate that. Let's flip over and let's talk a little defense, because I know, Coach Jay, you said early you didn't like some of the things that you saw. Dauber brought up a point that I wanted to bring up. Tennessee started off horrible on third down defense. I think Vanderbilt was 3 for 3 in that first drive, 3 for 3. Guess what? They finished 4 for 10. So Tennessee really did a good job moving forward from there. Look, we spotted them 14 points, right? I mean, they had the house call the opening kickoff, and then we give them a short field. We give them a short field with Dylan Sampson. Now let's look at the drive chart after that, right? 9 plays, 61 yards. You dug in, you gave up a field goal. Next drive, 6 plays, 16 yards, interception. Next drive, that's where the big fourth down stop was. 7 plays, 19 yards, turnover on downs. That's when the momentum really started to shift. 3 and out punt, 6 plays punt. You took a knee right before the half. 5 plays punt, 2 plays safety, and then they put together that touchdown drive with 2 minutes left in the game. Like, complimentary football, right? I think the defense played better, but also, going back to what Dauber said earlier, we beat them with their own game plan. This offense, man, we've been saying all year, if this offense can put it together, how much better is the defense going to be when they don't have to be out there on the field all day, when they're not given a short field all day? Like, I think the offense eating the clock, chewing up the clock, man, we saw what this team can really be if they put it together and click on all cylinders. But I think the defense dug in. They played a good game overall, gave up 212 yards. Diego Pavia, the second coming, the greatest quarterback of all time, was 8 for 17 with 104 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. Tell me again how he's better than Nico. He had 11 carries for 45 yards. By the way, Nico had 6 carries for 42 yards, averaged 7 yards per carry to Diego Pavia's 4.1 yards per carry. So tell me more about how great their quarterback is. But Coach Jay, talk a little bit about this defense. I know you had some concerns, but overall on the day.
Starting off, first couple drives, I really, really was very perturbed on how we were setting the edge. If you think back to the touchdown after the fumble, James Pierce collapses down and gets beat to the outside, and we just kept getting beat on the edge, and then we were mixing in poor tackling on top of it. The one saving grace early was our cornerbacks were locked down, but our linebackers, specifically Smith, early, I think of that early third down. It was like a 3rd and long play that they converted early. It was on their second defensive drive. Smith settled in the same exact spot that he settles in the middle of the field that he lined up in. And as anyone will tell, any linebacker will coach will tell you, when you settle in your zone as a linebacker, even when you're settling underneath, you don't settle at 5 yards. You settle at 7 traditionally, 6 maybe. If you're in man, maybe there's some leeway. But he was just settling in that middle zone, up front, and then he would get moved by the quarterback's hips in the wrong direction every time, not flowing with the hips. I really didn't like that. What I did like, Lott and Joseph's, that combination on the field together was really dangerous all day. I'll give you another combination that was extremely deadly on the field today, barring just one face mask penalty. That was the combination of Hobbs and Moy. And we're starting to see David Hobbs and Jackson Moy always on the field together at the same time. Why is that, Boogie? Why is David Hobbs and Jackson Moy on this field together all the time? You know?
I don't know. Am I supposed to know? I feel
Yeah,
like this is a
Dauber,
trick
do you know?
question.
The reason is because those are the two interior defensive tackles coming back together next year. Those are your two starters, and they've started to move them to the front in anticipation of this. And I'll tell you what, guys, they look elite up there together. They look elite. And you start talking about Joseph's coming off the edge with them, Jason Jenkins mixing in there, West on the back side of that, Arian Carter behind it, T-Lander behind it, Spillman behind it, Ross coming off the edge with it, Herring coming back. That with the cornerbacks and the evolution of Boo Carter are the reason I think this defense can grow in the future. I think it was on display with them later in the game. I just thought early, poor tackling, not setting the edge well, the eye discipline. All this was pregame talk for me, right? The whole belt thing. I went through Boogie in that pregame talk. Blitz for B, E for eyes, L for leverage, holding the outside. The E and the L went out the window early, and it hurt Tennessee. It's going to hurt you whenever you're against that option game. If you have bad eyes as linebackers and you have bad leverage on the edges, that's always going to hurt you. We set the edge really, really well later in the game. I think to a couple big hits to Pavia and some of the running backs on the outside late in that game. I think Tim Banks challenged this defense at halftime to set that edge, and I think they answered the call.
I think, and granted, I can't lay it out like you just did. What I saw early was a lot of arm tackling. And they were, Pavia particularly.
Will Brooks got trucked.
Yeah, and
and then laid a hit later.
It was a lot of seemed lazy and not really squaring up Pavia or their running back. And when you're doing that and you're not sealing the edge and it doesn't bode well. And they were ripping off chunk plays, 6, 7, 8, 9 yards. And that was a little bit concerning, given how the game started. But like you said, I think they shored it up pretty quick, and I think Nico and the offense, starting to roll a little bit, kind of helped that. But man, it is exciting, and we've talked about it kind of all year. The evolution of these young guys that will be back next year on both sides of the ball. So it's, I'm not ready to throw this season out and say, oh, let's look to 2025, because there's a lot of football hopefully left to be played. But when you do look ahead and seeing the impact that some of these guys are making, it is exciting.
And I think that like changes the expectation, right? I think some of the animosity, the griping, the complaining, like think back to 2022, how special 2022 was. But going into 2023, it was all about, can Joe Milton do what Hendon Hooker did? What we still had holes, we still had questions, we still had concerns. I think this team is going to be really good in 2025. I think the defense particularly going to be really good in 2025. And man, just again, I can't tell you how excited I got when I saw the rumors that Tennessee was going to spend the most money in the transfer portal. Sign me up. You know what my favorite thing to happen this entire show is the fact that Jason's phone autocorrects Boo to Boogie.
There you go.
He was trying to say Gibson, McCoy, and Boo, and it's like Boogie. He types Boogie in the chat.
Out there.
I love it. What?
I got a question. I got a quick question just for funsies. All right. Who would you rather have in these playoffs? The 22 team or this team?
This team, because of defense, 110%.
Can we talk the offense from 22 and defense?
No, Dauber, you have to choose one. That's the point of the game.
How about the offense? How about the offense?
Wand.
The offense from today, man. And I get it. It's one game. It's Vanderbilt. It is what it is. But the same people that were talking about how scary Vanderbilt is now saying, well, it was just Vanderbilt, right? But give me, I see the thing is, I see both sides. James says, give me 22. 22 could go shoot out score for score with anybody in the country.
But then they give up 45 points.
Will get you beat eventually.
I want this defense, man, because if this offense clicks with this defense, they're going to be hard to beat.
Yeah. My official answer, Coach Jay, is this team because defense wins championships.
It's tough for me, but I think it's close. But I'll take this one. But I do think it's close. Yeah.
You know what? I love this. This just took over Jason's autocorrect for me as the favorite moment in the stream, because that question, and just about everybody but James, pretty much everybody but James. Well, now here comes some more. Coach Rice, 22 with or without Hendon. Most of the people are saying this team. Man, how fun that 22 season was. Everybody was talking about how great it was and celebrating and lighting cigars. This year has been misery. For most of the year, everybody has been miserable. Not everybody. The vocal minority have been miserable not celebrating this season. And now here we're saying we'll take this team over 22.
For me, the deciding factor is, and Coach Rice brought it up in the chat right now, is I don't think 22 could beat Georgia necessarily. I think this team can on a neutral field. For me, that's the difference. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong, and the 22 team could have got it done. I know this defense isn't the 22 Georgia defense either, so there's something to be said for that, and I think that's fair. I think that's fair.
Georgia offense.
I think that's fair, and it was just asked as one of these fun, and it was asked as one of these fun questions, right? It would, and I'm asking it not inserting, 22, all those guys. I'm asking it just inserting the 22 team in the.
I think that people have a fondness for that 2022 team because it was
fun to watch.
Well, it was unlike Tennessee football had been for the last 15 years. It was exciting. They were scoring points.
There weren't expectations.
We had finally come out of three up the middle and punt. It was innovative. It was new. It was like watching other teams play. They're like, oh, this is how easy football can be. But it was a struggle defensively. You had to score, 47 points to win a game because you're giving up 43. And I think I've said it all along this year. This team has found a different way to win ball games. They've had to claw and fight, and they've had to rely on that defense because the offense hasn't put up those video game numbers you saw in 2022.
Which is, we never expected that with Josh Heupel. We always thought it was going to be high octane, up tempo, scoring 50 points a game, and not leaning on defense. That's the beautiful thing about it. Let me catch up with you guys. Coach Rice for another 5 says point blank, Nico is improving rep by rep, but must improve in downfield anticipation to take this offense to the elite levels it can be. GBO, Aaron, my friend Aaron, the Georgia fan, hell yeah, Ball Nation, now handle business and meet us at the finish line for the championship to show the rest of the college football why SEC is king. Do you know how happy I would be if the Tennessee Volunteers beat the Georgia Bulldogs for the national championship?
Man.
I cannot think of a better way to end this football season.
Sign me up for that.
Will Dyer for 2. The interception in the end zone was the biggest play of the game.
Big.
Let's see. Cletus, the Barber Beefcake. I love that name, by the way. For 5, watching USC and Notre Dame tied at 7. Just remembered how much I do not miss Gary Danielson. I forget there was a game that I watched and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so thankful. Timothy McGee, don't yell at me, Timothy. He says, Boogie, I will say it again. Stop talking about 22. It's 2024. That was Coach Jay. I told him, I hyped these guys up. I say, don't you forget what Timothy told us. Do not talk about 22. And you see the disrespect, Timothy. This is the disrespect that I'm dealing with and you are dealing with. Coach Jay will try to be better. But thank you, Timothy, for the super chat. Paul Lindsay for 10. It's all gravy now. Wins, ribs. The Glen LeVay. What is that? Like some type of, I don't even know what that word means.
Scotch.
Oh, just give me a good bourbon. I don't need that fancy stuff. Cigars. Now we are set to go beat the odds. GBO. Paul, you can't hide money. They say that about me. I'm going to say that about you. Timothy McGee for another 5 says, only complaint I have is Heupel didn't allow Nico to get more reps for Nico last year. A lot of people saying that. Now, Timothy, why are you talking about the past? You said it's 2024. Now we're talking about 2023. How am I supposed to keep your rules and regulations straight? I do agree. I do agree. Nico could have grown a lot last year into this year, but they didn't do it. They chose not to do it. That whatever happens will happen. We are 10-2 heading into the college football playoff. If you haven't done it yet, smash the thumbs up on the way out the door. I would appreciate it. Schedule for this week will be a little bit different. We'll be live tomorrow, day after video coming bright and early. We'll be live tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern time for the fan call-in show. Monday morning with Eric Kane, same as always, 9 a.m. No Tuesday night stream. Upward basketball is kicking off. We got practice this week. Once I get all the coaches set and the schedule set, then I'll be back to business as usual on Tuesday. But I've got to be at all the practices this week. So it's a busy week for me, but we will still be pumping out content. We'll be live Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Me and Coach Rice talking about early signing day. No Friday morning stream because no game on Saturday. So everything will kind of change after this week. We'll still try to do lives on Wednesday nights, but just make sure you're subscribed to the channel, that the bell is clicked for notifications so you don't miss out when we go live, or you can go look down below the video, or you can look across the ticker there. Follow at Talkin VAWLS_pod, or any of us. Well, actually, not any of us. I don't even know if y'all retweet half the stuff. At Boogie Bentley, I'll retweet. I tweet out every time we go live, every time we post a video. So get in where you fit in for that. Coach Jay, final thoughts on the 36-23 win over Vanderbilt.
Final thoughts are I'm proud of this team, man. They fought back. We hear it all the time from Heupel. It's not going to be perfect. It doesn't have to be go out there and compete. They competed today. They bit down. They fought through it. There's been times this year, the Kentucky game down at half. Just different moments where we've been put in tough situations, whether it be a tough spot and Will Brook comes up with a pick six against NC State, whether it be a crazy touchdown to Chris Brazzell versus Alabama, whatever you want to call it, we've been able to respond in the right moments this season. It's been far from perfect, but I do think we've continued to get better. On the offensive side of the ball, we've continued to have growth, and I think the defense is going to get a much-needed rest. So I'm proud of this team. A big clap for accomplishing your goals. Now let's go get greedy. Let's get right, and let's get greedy.
Dauber, final thoughts.
Yeah, went into Nashville with everything on the line. Started off the worst possible script you could. Responded, found a way to bounce back, and took care of business. Beat down little brother like you need to. Shout out to the fans showing up and taking over Neyland West like always. It is. It's good to get to 10 wins. Like I said earlier, you look at where this program has come from. You look at the turnaround under Coach Josh Heupel, and like you say, Boogie, all the time, you kind of need to, slow down, maybe not be so critical, soak it in a little bit, because look across college football. There are teams beating teams that they have no business even being in the game with. And this Tennessee team got down to Vanderbilt and then battled back and found a way to win, stretched it out, double-digit win on the road in conference play with everything on the line and moving towards the playoffs. So what a way to cap off the regular season, hitting double-digit wins. You just hope that with the time off, we can maybe clean up the things that we've been trying to clean up all year, and with it, we're peaking at the right time. And just capitalize and build on momentum, and let's shock the world.
Let's just go play good defense, lean on Dylan Sampson, play undisciplined football, and only play 75% of the game and win. That's all that matters. That's what I'm expecting. That's going to be my keys to the game for the first playoff game. Play 75%.
Yeah, win the 75.
Carry the 5 to the opponent and keep it there for 45 minutes. It's going to be the keys to the game. Let's see. Coach Rice for 2, Gus Malzahn just resigned to take the offensive coordinator job. Did he take – I saw that you guys were talking in the chat that he had resigned, but to take the offensive coordinator job at FSU. Evan counts for 20. That's an Orange Boy. We'll play the dang clip.
Rocky Top!
Evan Count says, hey, love you guys and this family. Thanks, y'all. No, thanks to every one of you. I'm glad this season is not over. We still got more football, but I am grateful, man, for this community we built on this channel, the way it has changed over. I don't even know how many years we've been doing this now. I've been on YouTube for like 8 or 9 years now, but Talkin VAWLS really the last 5-6 years, the way it's changed and grown. And, you know, it's been a kind of a rotation. People come and people go, and it is what it is. But, man, I feel like we are firing on all cylinders on this channel right now, whether it's recruiting, whether it's post-game, whether it's fan call-in shows. You guys are what make this show different than any other show, like any other show on YouTube for Tennessee football. They'll be on there, they'll talk, and they give you their opinions, and that's what they do. But I truly feel like you guys are what make this channel what it is. I hope you see that. I hope you value that you do have a voice here. And sometimes it's hard, man, when there's 1,000 people watching and tons of comments are coming in. Yeah, I highlight the super chats because I'm grateful. That's what allows this channel to be my full-time job. Without the super chats, the memberships, the support, it just doesn't happen. So I thank you all for your support. And if you can't, I always say it all the time, if you can't afford to give, don't give. Don't. Just come hang out in the chat. I try to still highlight as many comments as possible. We appreciate you guys. We love you guys. That's going to do it for this one. We got more football in front of us. So tune in, stay dialed in. For Coach Jay, for Dauber, my name's Boogie Bentley. This is the Talkin VAWLS Network. Go Big Orange.